Hello and welcome to the latest Bible study. Sorry I haven't given forewarning that I got a little bit out of sync over this Easter period with everything going on. And so this is the one I'd normally do on Tuesday morning. I will see if I get another one done in time for Thursday, as again, I'm still officially taking a holiday, but if I can pre-record one, then I will do. So thank you for being with me. In some ways, where we are now in John 13, we could do with just being a bit further on than we could have really married up with the Easter story. But we're getting into the beginning of it and the period where Jesus goes to Jerusalem. It's the time of the Passover festival. And so I want to pick up in John 13 and we'll look at some of the things that are going on here. It says it's just before the festival. And I think it's very significant. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world. So I, one of the things that sometimes we can get in our heads that somehow at this point either God or Jesus or someone lost control and Satan, got his moment of biting back. But there was nothing could be further from the truth. It says Jesus knew that the hour had come. He knew that the time had come. And he knew the journey he was on. He was in control. The Father was in control. Satan at no point had control of what was going on, of what Jesus was going to do, of the deliverance that he was, going to bring. Satan could only and would only be defeated by this heaven plan. And it says Jesus, in his heart, what did he know? He knew the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. So I imagine in some ways there was an excitement in Jesus' heart. It, it, it says, doesn't it, elsewhere in scriptures, for the joy set before him endured the cross. So he knew that in this hour that was coming, in this time that was coming, he was returning to the Father. But he knew something amazing was being unleashed. The fact that as he went to the Father, he was going to open up a way that we also could be with him, with the Father, full of the Holy Spirit, that we would have this privilege of living on earth as agents of heaven. And then we'd have the amazing privilege of stepping into eternity, and being with the Father, with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit forever. So Jesus knew that he was that forerunner on this journey. So he said he knew the time had come. He was about to leave the world and he was about to go to the Father. He says, having loved his own who are in the world, he loved them to the end. Even that statement is so powerful because we can read the other part of the story, can't we? And we will do a bit later on, where we know that Peter betrayed Jesus. We know all the disciples left and ran off in fear and everything else. But here's the statement before it's even happened. The statement is, having loved his own who are in the world, he loved them to the end. So even though, let's take Peter as the example, even though Peter disowned Jesus, the promise was already established. The promise was he'd love them to the end. He was going to love them through into eternity. So even in that moment of betrayal, Jesus loved with the same unconditional love. Now, stop and think about that. The pain of betrayal, whether it's, well, the pain of betrayal, it doesn't matter if it's, can't really put a size on it, but it has a significant impact in our emotional world, in our lives, in our well-being, and everything. And yet, Jesus had already set his heart. He'd already chosen his pathway of love. That even in the pain of the betrayal of Judas, who'd walked with him, the betrayal of Peter, who promised he'd never leave him, Jesus loved them. Loved Peter. Loved them till the end. Isn't that incredible? So when we look at ourselves, sometimes it's possible to get caught up in things we haven't done right. We haven't prayed enough. We haven't read the word enough. We haven't worshipped enough. The only thing we've done too much of, more than enough, is we sometimes get in the mode, it's the things wrong and we can list them. if only God really knew me. But he does know us, and he loves us to the end. So let's pull that one into ourselves. He loves you to the end. There's nothing you can do to make me love you less. Sometimes that was a statement we would make over our children. There's nothing you can do that will make me love you less, because there's something of love deep in our hearts in a natural way that Jesus carried. So anyway, it carries on. We could stop there, couldn't we? And just enjoy that moment. It says the evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Now, I think we have to look at that and realize that Judas had something going on in his heart. He was already a thief. He was already stealing money. We knew that from the money bags. But stealing in itself didn't put him into this place. It didn't open the doorway. But there was something deeper. It was the attitude of his heart. It was what was going on deep inside that left a doorway. In fact, Jesus was betrayed for money. Judas, his heart was so caught up in natural riches that statement, how difficult is it, for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, that statement about not getting caught up in mammon and worldly wealth. Judas was caught up in the value of those things. And it left that gap, that left that place in his heart where when the moment came, when the plan came, when the thought came, when it was landed there, it had a landing bed where it could fester. Judas could see that there was an opportunity. He could see that there were people out to get Jesus, to kill him. And so Judas is there. He'd have known the chatter. He'd have known probably that protective ring from the disciples of, we need to keep Jesus safe. And he'd have played along with it. But then underneath, there was this plan that was set in motion and prompted. He took that prompt and he betrayed Jesus. Jesus, I think, already knew. He already knew who was going to betray him. Now, let's carry on a moment. It says, Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, that he'd come from God and was returning to God. So this here is an identity statement. Jesus knew, firstly, the Father, his Father, had put all things under his power. This is not something that's going out of control. Elsewhere in Corinthians, it says, on the night Jesus was delivered up, he broke bread. On the night he gave himself up. It wasn't a case that Jesus lost control and Satan, got him arrested. Jesus gave himself up onto the journey that he was going. And he knew that the Father had put things in his hand, under his power. And this is what else he knew. He knew that he was come from God and was returning to God. So think about that for a moment. His foundation was so strong, he knew where he'd come from. And he knew where he was returning to. Isn't that so powerful? He knew who he'd come from. That place of belonging was fundamental to Jesus' ministry. The knowing of the Father was fundamental to his ministry. Knowing the journey that he was on with the Father, though they were separated in the sense he wasn't in heaven, there was that slight shift. He hadn't lost that intimate connection with his Father. He knew power that he had on earth. He knew where he'd come from, and he knew where he was going. And so he got up from the meal. Hey, I've used 10 minutes already on that, so I'm going to record the next one, so you will get another one this week. And bless you for today. I'm leaving it hanging there a little bit, but we've got that essence of what was going on. Jesus knew his hour had come. He knew that he'd love to the end. He knew who was going to betray him, and he knew he'd come from the Father, was going from the Father, and all power had been given to him. So I'll put a full stop there. Bless you. Have a great few days. I'll be back with the next one. I'll put up for Thursday. Bless you. Bye for now.